I was sitting in the worn-out vinyl chair at the Montana DMV, the kind that sticks to your legs in the summer heat even though it was a crisp fall day. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry hornets, and the air smelled of stale coffee and desperation. I'd been waiting for over an hour to renew my driver's license, something I could have done online, but at 68 I preferred the old-fashioned way. It gave me a reason to get out of the house, to interact with people, even if it was just nodding at the clerk. My name is Eleanor Hayes, and for the past 40 years, I'd been running our family ranch in rural Montana all by myself. Well, not entirely by myself at first. My husband, Thomas, had been my partner in every sense, until that fateful farming accident took him from me when our son, Marcus, was just a boy. Thomas had been out fixing the fence line during a storm. A bolt of lightning struck too close, spooking the tractor, and it rolled over him. I found him hours later, rain-soaked and gone. Marcus was only 8 at the time, wide-eyed and silent as the paramedics carried his father away. From that day on, it was just the two of us against the world, the vast, unforgiving Montana plains. I poured everything into that boy, my time, my energy, my dreams. I worked the ranch dawn to dusk, mending fences, herding cattle, balancing the books. Marcus grew up helping, but as he got older, his eyes wandered to the horizon, dreaming of cities and silicon dreams far from the dust and manure. My phone vibrated in my purse, pulling me from my reverie. I fished it out, expecting it to be my neighbor, old Mr. Jenkins, checking on the fence we shared. But the screen showed Marcus's name. My heart lifted. Calls from him were rare these days. He was 48 now, living in California with his girlfriend, Leela, chasing some tech startup fantasy. "Mom?" His voice came through, clipped and distant, like he was reading from a script. "We're heading to Silicon Valley tomorrow. I sold the ranch and your old truck. Needed the cash for the business. Leela's got connections. This is our big break. Bye." The line went dead. I stared at the phone, the DMV chatter fading into a dull roar. Sold the ranch? My ranch? The one Thomas and I had built from nothing, scraping together every penny from his mechanic job and my teaching salary before we fully committed to the land? The place where Marcus learned to ride a horse? Where we buried Thomas under the big oak tree? And the truck? That battered 1972 Chevy that Thomas had restored himself? The one with his toolbox still in the bed, his scent faint on the leather seats. 40 years of sacrifice, of back-breaking work to give Marcus a foundation, and he discarded me like yesterday's feed. I took a deep breath, the clerk calling my number distantly. Something inside me didn't shatter. It steeled. Because there was something my dear son didn't know. Thomas had always been a planner, a quiet accumulator. 3 days before the accident, he'd handed me a small key with a note. "Ellie, keep this safe. If anything happens, open the safe in the barn loft when you're ready." Grief had buried that memory deep, along with so much else. But now, as I walked out of the DMV without renewing my license, suddenly it didn't seem important. I smiled faintly. Marcus thought he'd left me destitute. He had no idea. The drive home to the ranch was a blur of golden fields and distant mountains. The ranch sprawled over 500 acres, modest by Montana standards, but rich in history. Thomas and I bought it in our 20s, dreaming of a legacy. We'd raised cattle, grown hay, hosted community barbecues. Marcus had his first kiss under the stars here, his high school graduation party in the barn. But lately, he'd been distant, visiting only when he needed something, money for his ideas, advice he never took. Leela, his girlfriend of 5 years, was the catalyst. Ambitious, sharp-tongued, she saw the ranch as wasted potential, always pushing Marcus to monetize it. I parked the truck, my truck for now, and headed to the barn. The loft was dusty, filled with old tack and forgotten hay bales. Behind a loose board, just as Thomas had shown me once, was the small safe. My hands trembled as I inserted the key. Inside, a stack of documents, deeds, bank statements, and a letter in Thomas's neat handwriting. "My dearest Ellie," it began. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. Forgive the secrecy. I wanted to shield you from worries. Over the years, I invested our savings wisely. That side job fixing rigs for the oil companies, it led to more. We own mineral rights to vast, oil-rich land beneath the ranch and beyond, leases worth millions, plus portfolios in energy stocks, quietly built. You're wealthy, love. Always were in spirit, now on paper too. I kept it hidden so Marcus would love us for us, not our fortune. Use it wisely." Tears blurred the words. Deeds showed not just the ranch, but adjacent lands with active oil wells, pumping quietly under dummy company names. Bank accounts in my name held figures with more zeros than I'd ever imagined. Thomas, my simple mechanic farmer, had been a shrewd investor, turning every spare dollar into a nest egg. The ranch wasn't just land, it was a gateway to underground wealth. Marcus had sold the surface rights fraudulently. He had no authority. But the mineral rights? Untouched. Mine alone. The next day, the buyers arrived, a young couple from the city, eager for a rustic retreat. They handed over papers Marcus had forged with a power of attorney I'd signed in grief, thinking it was for estate matters. I played along, feigning confusion and heartbreak, signing over the keys with trembling hands. "It's for the best," I murmured, as they drove off in my truck. Inside, I called Mr. Harlan, Thomas's old lawyer from Billings. "Eleanor, I thought you'd never call," he said warmly. "Thomas left instructions. Let's get to work." Over the next weeks, I moved into a run-down trailer on the edge of town, the kind with thin walls and a leaky roof. Neighbors whispered, pitying the widow Hayes, fallen on hard times. I took a part-time job at the local diner, serving coffee to truckers, keeping up appearances. Meanwhile, Mr. Harlan worked discreetly, nullifying the sale, reclaiming the truck, tracing Marcus's actions. The ranch buyers were innocent, they'd get their money back. But Marcus? He'd flown to Silicon Valley, flush with cash from the quick sale, undervalued, of course, in his haste. I followed his progress online, piecing together posts and news snippets. His startup, some app for disrupting agriculture with AI, ironic given he'd fled the real thing. Leela was all in, her social media gleaming with venture meetings and champagne toasts. But cracks showed early. Investors balked at their unproven team. Costs ballooned. Within months, the money dried up. Leela, ever the opportunist, bailed first. Posts showed her with a new beau, a venture capitalist twice her age. Marcus called then, his voice softer, laced with false concern. "Mom, how are you holding up? We deposited your share, 30%, into your account. Should tide you over." My share of my own ranch. How generous. "We're killing it here," he boasted, but I heard the strain. "Leela's networking like crazy." I played the frail widow. "That's nice, dear. Safe travels." He hung up, oblivious. As winter gripped Montana, snow blanketing the plains, Marcus's world unraveled. The app launched to crickets. No users, bad reviews. Debts mounted, office space, developers, loans he'd taken using forged collateral, thinking the ranch was his. Leela's departure was the final blow. She took half their remaining funds in a messy split. Marcus slunk back to Montana, tail between his legs, crashing at a cheap motel. He showed up at my trailer one stormy night, soaked and defeated. "Mom," he said, eyes downcast. "Things didn't work out. Leela left. The business, it's over. Can I stay here? Just till I get on my feet?" I let him in, brewing coffee in my tiny kitchenette. He looked older, lines etched from stress. "What happened, son?" I asked gently, masking my knowledge. He spilled it all, the hype, the failures, the debts chasing him. I thought the ranch money would be enough seed capital. Leela said it was an investment in our future. He didn't apologize, not yet, just lamented his bad luck. I nodded sympathetically. We'll figure it out. Inside, Mr. Harlan had already reclaimed a ranch. It sat empty, waiting. The truck was back in a storage unit. But I let Marcus believe we were both broke. He took a job at the feed store, hauling sacks, his soft hands blistering. Evenings, he'd collapse on my lumpy couch, grumbling about manual labor. I watched, heart aching but resolved. He needed this, to feel the weight of consequences, the grind Thomas and I had known. Weeks turned to months. Marcus applied for better jobs, but his credit was shot, debts from California haunting him. He worked double shifts, saved pennies. One night, over canned soup, he broke. "Mom, I'm sorry for everything. Selling the ranch, it was wrong. I was greedy, blinded by Leela's dreams." I patted his hand. "Apologies are a start, Marcus, but actions speak louder." He nodded, vowing change. He started helping around town, fixing fences for neighbors, volunteering at the community center. Humility crept in, replacing arrogance. Mr. Harlan called with updates. The oil leases were producing royalties, swelling my accounts. I could end this any time, but not yet. One day, Marcus came home excited. "I got a promotion at the store, assistant manager. It's not much, but it's honest work." Pride shone in his eyes, the kind earned, not inherited. "That's wonderful," I said, smiling genuinely. But as he talked, I knew the time was nearing. He'd hit rock bottom, climbed a bit. Now, to reveal the truth, not as revenge, but as a lesson in loyalty, hard work, and family legacy. The next morning, I suggested a drive. "Let's visit the old ranch for old time's sake." He hesitated but agreed. As we approached in my beat-up loaner car, he frowned. "Mom, it looks unoccupied. The buyers left?" "Something like that," I murmured. We pulled up and I produced the key from my pocket. His eyes widened as we entered, the place untouched, as if time had paused. "How?" "Sit down, Marcus. There's something you need to know about your father." I pulled out the documents, spreading them on the kitchen table where we'd shared countless meals. His face paled as he read. The deeds, the oil rights, the investments. "Dad, he built all this? In secret?" "Yes, to protect us, to ensure love wasn't tainted by money." He looked up, realization dawning. "The sale, it was illegal. You got it back?" I nodded, and more. "We're wealthy, son, but I let you believe otherwise because you needed to learn what Thomas and I knew. Value comes from effort, not entitlement." Tears welled in his eyes. "Mom, I don't deserve this." "No one deserves it, but family earns it through loyalty." He hugged me then, a real embrace, not the perfunctory ones of before. "I want to make it right, help run the ranch, the way Dad would have wanted." We spent the afternoon talking, planning. Marcus quit the feed store but volunteered more, using his tech skills for community apps, free ones, helping farmers track weather. The oil money funded improvements, sustainable practices, a scholarship fund in Thomas's name. But as spring thawed the land, old habits whispered. Marcus met a woman at the community center, Sarah, kind but ambitious. She talked of expanding the ranch into ecotourism. I saw the spark in his eyes, the pull of big ideas. Was the lesson truly learned? One evening, over dinner, he broached it. "Mom, Sarah has ideas. We could leverage the oil money for—" I cut him off gently. "Think carefully, son. Remember the trailer?" He paused, nodded. "You're right, slow and steady." Yet doubt lingered. Had I taught him enough, or would history repeat? That night, after Marcus went to bed in the spare room of the old ranch house, his old room really, I sat on the porch with a mug of chamomile tea and watched the stars come out over the Montana sky. The air was sharp with early spring chill. the kind that bites your cheeks but promises warmer days ahead. Thomas used to sit right here beside me, his calloused hand over mine, talking about the future. More cattle, maybe a few horses for tourists, a legacy for Marcus that wasn't just land, but values. I whispered into the dark, "Did I do right, Tom? Or did I wait too long?" The next morning, Marcus was up before dawn, something I hadn't seen since he was a teenager forced to help with chores. He brewed coffee strong enough to strip paint and stood at the kitchen window staring out at the pastures like he was seeing them for the first time. "Mom, this place, it's exactly the same. The barn roof still leaks in the same spot. The oak tree's bigger, but Dad's initials are still carved there." His voice cracked. "I sold it like it was nothing." I poured him a cup and sat across from him. "You did, and now you know what that feels like." He nodded slowly. "I want to earn my way back here, not just move in because it's mine by blood. I want to prove I can run it right, better than before. Sustainable grazing, maybe some agritourism, but small scale, nothing flashy." I studied him. The city polish had worn off, his hands were rough again from the feed store, his face weathered by regret and honest work. But I'd been burned once. Words are easy, Marcus. We'll take it one season at a time. The first test came sooner than I expected. Sarah, the woman from the community center, started coming around more often. She was in her late 30s, divorced, sharp as a branding iron, and full of ideas. She ran a little graphic design business from home and had helped Marcus build that free weather app for local farmers. One evening, she joined us for supper, venison stew and cornbread. Conversation flowed easy until she pulled out her tablet. "Eleanor, Marcus showed me the mineral rights statements. With those royalties, you could easily finance a lodge, 10 cabins, a central dining hall, trail rides. Montana's booming for ecotourism. We'd keep it low impact, hire local, give back to the community. ROI in 5 years, conservative estimate." Marcus's eyes lit up the way they used to when he talked about Silicon Valley. "Mom, it's not like Leela's schemes. This is grounded, real land, real people. We could employ half the county." My spoon paused halfway to my mouth. There it was, the siren song of leverage, of using wealth to chase more wealth. I set the spoon down gently. "Sarah, you've clearly thought this through, but this ranch has carried our family through lean years because we never overextended. We paid cash for every improvement. Debt almost took it twice in the 80s. I won't risk that again." Sarah smiled, undeterred. "No debt needed. The oil money's sitting there earning peanuts in bonds. Reinvest it here, create something lasting." Marcus looked at me, hopeful, waiting for me to agree. I saw the boy who once begged for a new computer to start his company at 14. I also saw the man who'd slept on my trailer couch, ashamed. I chose my words carefully. "I appreciate the vision, truly, but any expansion will be paid for with ranch earnings and a small portion of royalties, nothing that jeopardizes the core operation. If you two can show me a plan that respects that boundary, I'll consider it." Sarah's smile tightened. Marcus deflated a little, but he nodded. "Fair enough, Mom. Slow and steady." Over the next months, life settled into a cautious rhythm. Marcus moved into the bunkhouse, insisted on it, said he didn't deserve the main house yet. He rose early, worked late, repairing fences, vaccinating calves, negotiating hay contracts. He kept his feed store job part-time, banking every paycheck. Sarah helped with branding and a simple website for selling grass-fed beef direct to consumers in Billings and Bozeman. Orders trickled in, then grew. For the first time in years, the ranch turned a modest profit without touching the oil money. I watched from the sidelines, helping where needed but letting him lead. Mr. Harlan sent quarterly statements, royalties climbing as oil prices rose, investments compounding. I funneled a portion anonymously into a scholarship fund for local kids pursuing ag degrees. Thomas's name on it, no mention of me. One July afternoon, a heat shimmer rising off the fields, Marcus found me in the garden pulling weeds. Sweat soaked his shirt. His face was sunburned and serious. "Mom, I need to talk." My stomach tightened. Here it comes, another big idea. He sat on the porch step. "Sarah and we're done." I paused, hoe in hand. "I'm sorry, son." "Don't be, it was my doing." He picked at a splinter on the step. "She kept pushing for investors, some guys from Denver wanting to turn this into a luxury dude ranch, spa treatments, helicopter tours. When I said no, that we'd stick to your rules, she got frustrated, said I was thinking small. Last week she told me she's moving to Colorado with one of those investors, taking her designs with her." I sat beside him. "And how do you feel?" "Relieved, mostly. Angry at myself for almost falling for it again." He met my eyes. I saw it happening, the same pattern, someone dazzling me with big numbers, me wanting to prove I could make it big. But this time I caught it early, because of you, because of that trailer. I put my arm around his shoulders, something I hadn't done in years. He leaned into it like a much younger man. That fall, we had our best calving season in decades. Marcus implemented rotational grazing he'd studied online during slow nights at the feed store. The pastures greened up thicker than I'd ever seen. He paid off the last of his California debts with beef sales and his own savings. No help from the oil accounts. One crisp October evening, after we'd finished branding the new calves, he asked me to walk out to Thomas's grave under the oak. The sun was setting, painting the sky in fire and gold. Marcus carried a small wooden box. "Mom, I made something." He opened it, a hand-carved sign, simple letters burned into cedar. "Hayes Family Ranch, established 1978. Built on hard work and honesty. I want to hang it at the gate if you'll let me." Tears stung my eyes. "I'd be honored." He cleared his throat. "There's more. I've been taking night classes online, range management, accounting. I want to earn the right to run this place full-time, not because I'm your son, but because I can do it well." I looked at him, at the man he'd become through failure and grit, and felt Thomas's presence, strong as ever. "You already have, Marcus, but keep taking those classes. A good rancher never stops learning." Winter rolled in early that year, snow blanketing the fields by Thanksgiving. Marcus moved back into the main house. "Bunkhouse is too damn cold," he grumbled, but I saw the comfort it gave him to be home. We decorated modestly, just like old times. A single string of lights on the porch, Thomas's favorite recordings of Willie Nelson on the record player. On Christmas Eve, after a quiet dinner of prime rib from our own stock, Marcus handed me an envelope. Inside was a legal document transferring day-to-day operations of the ranch to him, with me retaining ownership and final say. At the bottom, his signature and a note. "I will honor Dad's legacy and your trust every single day." I signed, hands steady. "I know you will." The next morning, Christmas Day, we drove into town for church, then stopped by the community center. Marcus had organized a dinner for folks who had nowhere else to go. Widows, veterans, kids from broken homes. He'd used ranch profits to buy turkeys and fixins, enlisted neighbors to cook. I watched him serve plates, laugh with old Mr. Jenkins, tease the children. Pride swelled so fierce I had to step outside for air. Spring came again, greener than ever. The scholarship fund had sent 3 local kids to college. Direct beef sales doubled. Marcus added a small farm stand by the highway, honor system, cash box locked to the post. It never came up short. One June afternoon, Mr. Harlan called. "Eleanor, the oil company wants to expand drilling on the north section. Big money, could triple royalties." I looked out the window at Marcus on horseback, checking the herd, moving slow and deliberate like Thomas used to. "Tell them no," I said. "That land stays pasture." Harlan chuckled. Thomas would approve. That evening, Marcus and I sat on the porch again, same spot, watching another sunset. He'd started dating again, a quiet woman named Jenna who taught third grade in town. No big dreams, just steady and kind. They'd gone on a few picnics. He seemed content. "Mom," he said, after a long silence, "I used to think success was getting away from here. Now I know it's staying and making it better." I reached over and squeezed his hand. "Your father's smiling tonight." He squeezed back. "And you? Are you happy?" I thought of the trailer days, the heartache, the long game I'd played. I thought of Thomas's letter, of the wealth that had waited patiently, of the son who'd come home not for money, but for redemption. "Happier than I've been in 40 years, I said. We sat until the stars came out, the Montana sky vast and forgiving above us. The ranch was whole again, not just in deeds and dollars, but in heart. Justice hadn't come as punishment, but as growth. And in the end, we'd both received the greatest inheritance Thomas could have left us, a second chance to get family right.